something that I never noticed. We are the future, ride for the culture. Put my dirty clothes on the lines of a notebook. Never hide from exposure, show you nobody is unbroken.
Remember my name. You see my face every breath that you take. Just when you think I was torn down in flames, I'm born again. All of my dark days are gone. You will remember. Yeah, you will remember. Yeah, you will remember. You will remember. Yeah.
I'm unstoppable. Came too far to be barred by an obstacle. That's not an optional. What they call hard is like riding a bicycle. I'm phenomenal. Feeling like I could do what a mythological guy could do. Power is optimal. It's my time to make impossible and the possible.
Remember my name. You see my face every breath that you take. Just when you think I was torn down in flames, I'm born again. All of my dark days are gone. You will remember. You will remember. Yeah, you will remember. You will remember. Yeah. I'm born again. I'm born again. All of my dark days are gone. Remember the name. You see my face every breath that you take. Just when you think I was torn down in flames, I'm born again. All of my dark days are gone. You will remember. You will remember. Yeah, you will remember. You will remember. Yeah. Take me to the front line. Better get your head right. You ain't gonna take my pride away. Take me to the front line. Put me in the limelight. You ain't gonna take my shine away. Take my shine away. Take me to the front line. Better get your head right. You ain't gonna take my pride away. Take me to the front line. Put me in the limelight. You ain't gonna take my shine away.
your chest while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Be ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible. Can he get it done?
The grandstands are going wild.
They're crashing mid-pack. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.
Now the best is coming. Now the best is coming.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Day 2 of the 2026 iRacing Crandon Championship presented by Track Racer. There was no shortage of fireworks last night as Evan McFarland of Channel 199 Sim Racing took the first win of the week. But now we have a set of fresh faces and who try to tackle the big house, the Crandon International Raceway, here at session number 1 on Wednesday. My name is Kenny Kuzin, coming to you from the iRacing studio, joined this morning by Justin Prince. And Justin, it was fireworks last night, and it might be a little bit, usually the morning sessions are a bit more reasonable, but when I said this last night, everyone ran into each other. So who knows what we got going on for this afternoon.
Yeah, today could be an interesting one to say the very least, because the big thing about yesterday compared to today is you've now got established momentum that comes from last night and established points in turn. So you have a good sense on where the points tallies are, and better yet, where you need to improve to go into the next day, and then the next day, and so forth, now that you've got at least a benchmark on how you and everyone else drives here this week.
It's kind of one of the cons as a driver is that every finish is going to matter to every single, every finish that you have this week is going to matter. But great TV for us because we get to follow storylines and see how some of these drivers perform throughout the week. Not the only Super Session event that we're going to have for the rest of our special event schedule. You see the iRacing Formula Ford Festival there in October, end of October, Halloween weekend. We'll have some heat racing. That's always a good time. The Bathurst 1000, such a unique event. One of the most fun cars on the sim as well is the Australian Supercar. If you haven't had a chance to drive it, I could not recommend it enough. And if you're itching for one more 24-hour race before the end of the year, Brick Car 24 at Silverstone this September 18th to 20th will be your last opportunity, at least in the official sense, to be able to get some friends together and have an adult sleepover, is what I like to call the team racing here in iRacing. As Justin, speaking of event schedules, let's take a look at what we got going on this week.
Yes, indeed, and keep in mind, as we've talked about, there are multiple sessions over the course of the week. You have 2 sessions per day from Wednesday up until Saturday. Essentially, each day you have the morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, then the 9 p.m. Eastern for the evening racing. Those will accumulate points over time, of course, Keenan. And that eventually leads to Super Saturday, which will be those super sessions. The formats are the same throughout each of the days, but there's big differences. The qualifier races through the weekdays, that's where you're scoring points to help yourself out for the super sessions, to see if you can make it to the top session to be the best driver of the week for the Crandon Championship. But of course, it's similar to that, of course, of the Indy 500 qualifier. You can compare, but you can still be a part of the fun if you just want to take part in Saturday. That's where it then sorts out to the road iRating, the dirt road iRating for the splits. So in other words, if you want to go racing in the big crown jewel of the race week for the special event, that's where the qualifier races come into play to earn those points.
I was going to say, that's one of the coolest things about this. That you could realistically jump on iRacing right now, today, and be able to be in one of those super sessions on Saturday. Where are we racing? Of course, this is the Mecca, the big one, the big house. This is the Daytona International Speedway of short course racing here in North America. Welcome to Crandon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the Crandon International Raceway. 56 years in business. It is an iconic venue. 8 turns, about 1.5 miles, 2.4 kilometers just from where we're from. This opened in 1970, and the hot spots you're going to want to look for: Cowboy Corner right next to that Land Rush start, which we'll talk a little bit more later. Gravel Pit, which is your second really tight hairpin, and then Potawatomi turn number 1. 10 trucks deep, firing in there, and lap 1's going to be a spectacle every single time.
And that's going to be very important to get a good jump on with these trucks, because they carry a bit hefty speed when it comes to their machines. 4-wheel drive, of course, especially with that 410 cubic inch V8 engine, up to 900 horsepower of these machines. You have to work your way through the gears, of course, as you work your way around the racetrack. They also have a bit of travel in the suspension, if you will, with its 4,100 pounds of weight that allow you to be able to take those jumps, and better yet, take a lot of slider opportunities. And of course, no assists that come into play with this machine. It's all about the hands and feet, essentially, when it comes to how you drive these trucks. But as we know, you got to be able to keep things good aerodynamically.
Someone called Brad Pitt, because these machines were built for combat. And you could see this last year, as that's our first super session of our 2025 event. This was a barn burner. The local boy himself, we haven't seen him race yet, not in today's race. Maybe we'll see him this evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Nicholas Dashley, local to Crandon, Wisconsin, was able to get his second Crandon Championship win in the morning split, but it was not easy, Justin. He had to fend off a hard-charging Fat Country.
Yes, and as talked about with you guys yesterday, that was a part of a battle that got away from absolute calamity as drivers hit some of the concrete bridges that happened here. It's so easy to accidentally hit the pillars with the side-by-side as you work through the jumps. But it's very critical in this part of the race to also avoid contact. We've seen a fair bit of it in Super Session 1, eventually leading to that back and forth that happened for the race lead between the top two.
That's the fun part about following these sessions all the way throughout the week. If you're watching us right now and you're keeping up throughout the week, you're going to see patience slowly start to get less and less and less. Maybe somewhere where a driver would lip to let somebody in, or just go, hey, we'll fight later, especially in the super session. That's it. That's what you worked all week to get towards. There will be no quarter. And you'll see that. You see that in the racing here. Thad giving the door to Nicholas. Nicholas getting the door to Thad. And again, Dashley able to get the win. Here's race number 2. This is the big one. Not that it takes anything away from that first super session, but a lot of our best drivers are based out of the West Coast here in North America. This is the session they're able to run. And boy, was it a spectacle. It was Sean Winkler, the Unk, getting it done for Racecraft Academy, able to pull away from this mess behind him.
Yeah, especially since, as you'll see by about here, parts were flying off the trucks, and better yet, sliders were flying. And it was so critical to get yourself away from the trouble. We talked about the importance of qualifying, whether that's for the Land Rush or whether it's trying to get yourself established to pull away from the field. They were so hectic in the midst of this field. You're talking about drivers making sliders on 7 trucks. That allowed the top 2 to just run away.
Yeah, no, words of the late, great Ken Block, a lot of ain't care towards these super sessions. Again, we thought we would be a little bit more tame last night with it being the first race. That was not the case. We'll be able to talk about that a little bit more later in this event. But Sean Winkler getting it done wasn't able to kind of replicate his success last night as you take a look at our current point standings. Evan McFarland, Channel 199 Sim Racing, leading the charge right now with 330 points. He's locked in as of right now into that top split of Super Sessions. You see Sean Winkler down there in 9th, Dan Countryman in 4th. Scott Merrick was 2 third places last year, Justin. He's currently sitting 2nd. I know he wants to get farther up the podium, but a lot of names up and down this board. So one that you don't see is a former champion, Dane Culver, who's in our current race.
That's going to be very interesting, especially since, remember, early in the week, now getting your first attempt in some cases, that's going to come into play. Danny Sol also amongst those. We can tell you are here today. But, of course, last night, you talked about it, was pretty intense where the note said when looking forward, the thought was you'd see things going calm in the sprint. It was not, Keenan.
No, not at all. A lot of these drivers race with each other all the time in leagues, and the short course community, as tight-knit and as wonderful as it is, one of the best kept secrets in the sim, they're like elephants. They don't forget. So a lot of storms were brewing before we even took the green flag, and you can see that in a lot of sliders, door bang and contact, but all is fair and love in short course. But Dane Culver was able to get your sprint race win, but that doesn't mean anything. That just sets you up for your main race. And as you saw in the main race, it just did not go Dane's way, as not a great start off the line. He gets caught up in some first lap shenanigans, and Evan McFarland was able to capitalize.
Especially since there was a lot of crashing going on off the jump, and others getting absolutely turned around for the battle for the race lead. But of course, it was all about establishing yourself once you got away. Take, for example, those lower in the number counts, the 17, 18, amongst those who got physical with going the iRacing counts. They got pretty physical, so did the 19. A lot of people slammed each other back and forth for spots, and in a lot of cases, led to a lot of flips.
Yeah, that's Cole Fisher right there, going to meet his maker, right up in the air. But Channel 199 Sim Racing, driving for the man, the myth, the legend, Travis Pastrana, as Evan McFarland was able to be your first winner of one of these qualifying races here this week. We're here now in qualifying for race number 2. This is your second qualifier. So names you might recognize from last night that are currently sitting in the entry list as we ride along with Kendrick Cargill. He's new for this afternoon, at least in terms of top split. Dane Culver will be back. Brody Descher, they had a minor disagreement last night. I think all that's kind of been smoothed over, but we won't know until we take the green flag. Daniel Solo has returned from Sweden. He's going to be a little bit more well-rested. I think he was racing probably, 2 in the morning last night, something like that. And then a lot of new names that we didn't see last night. Nice to see Miles Morse. Shared the track with him quite a bit, so he's one to watch out for, that number 8 truck. And, of course, Cody Redslap is joining us this afternoon.
Good solid field of competitors, to say the very least, and when thinking about some of the drivers that you recognize and we both recognize, it's a good opportunity to be able to establish yourself a little bit more of the, in theory, not take away, of course, going to be lower on the IR side, but of course, it's still a matter of getting points, still getting yourself some points on the board to get to the Super Session. And remember, there's a lot of talented drivers when it comes to style racing based out of Europe that may say it's a little bit later in the time for me to be able to compete for the later Eastern time afternoon/evening sessions. Why not put yourself in, as we are in the midst of 7-minute 3-lap qualifying?
It's funny you say that. I have the sim open on my other monitor here, and I think he's just coming to scope the competition. Quentin DeLomo is not a name that we've seen yet this season, but he just joined the session. I think he's got his eyes here. So I don't know if you're listening, Quentin. Nice to see you. Hopefully we see you tonight or tomorrow as we ride along board with Nathan Minster coming over that Ponte turn 2. Such an aggressive course. Really hard to pass here as well here at Crandon, but one of the most iconic venues in short course racing in North America, if not the most iconic venue in short race course racing in North America. There's a reason they call it the Big House.
It's such a prestigious facility. Remember, the real life event coming up, 56-year anniversary coming up with this facility, opened back in 1970. There's been a lot of action that's happened here, and in turn, it's become one of sim racing staples when it comes to this style of racing, and in general, some events that some of those have worked on in regards to the iRacing community. So you want to be able to win here, and better yet, this is the crown jewel of them all, if you will, for this type of racing for good reason.
Yeah, there's a reason I kind of compared it to Daytona in terms of the oval side. Even road racing, Daytona 24 is a very iconic race But this is one that everybody wants to win. It is the only dirt road special event on the calendar, and especially now that there's no Pro Series, this is kind of it. So everybody comes out. It's very, very serious. The couple weeks leading up are very, very locked in, and one of the most unique starts in sim racing. You want the best. You've got them 10 abreast. Welcome to the Land Rush.
The Land Rush is so critical from the jump because you're 10 wide, and remember, when it comes to lanes, the further outside you are, the more at risk you are of the contact and potential chaos to the inside, because by the time you get to Potawatomi, you turn, you have the potential of slamming in, and that can potentially see a race end from the get-go. There is a risk of hitting the wall off the jump, and if you're in the heart of this field, there's no room for error, especially in the jumps. You slide too much to the left, you hit somebody in the wall. You slide too much to the right, you get squeezed either way. You have the potential of absolute carnage if you don't get a good qualifying effort to avoid all of this trouble.
Yeah, that inside line's pretty good, but even being in towards the middle, you'll probably get caught up in the wreck, but you have a chance to drive out of it. If you're on the outside there, you're at the mercy of the other 9 trucks to the inside of you. And another big thing that's new this season as well, or this year to the event, is the dust. We were hearing from drivers last night. They couldn't see a thing, so especially the first couple laps. So if you can't get clear and kind of have a clear run, only 2-3 trucks ahead of you, you're going to be driving blind. And if you're watching this and seeing that this is super cool, I want to get involved in this, you could realistically get an iRacing membership, which is 30% off for new members right now. Scan the QR code on screen and be able to participate in these super sessions on Sunday. You just need a Dirt 4 or D4.0 safety rating on dirt. So do a couple rookie races, drive that new cross car, and we could be seeing you on Saturday. As now we jump in with Team Watson Racing to Miles Morse, as he's currently P9 of the 12 trucks that currently have a lap time set in. He's going to run a 16.8. That's not good enough to improve. As look at the top 2, we are going to Brody Descher and Dane Culver currently at P1, P2, as Florent Deschamps from France is your truck number 4. Let's see if he can put a lap time in, kind of a little bit of a slide there coming out of Calamity Corner, and that will be good enough for P6. Still a 15, the lap time's about a second faster than we were anticipating at the start of the week.
Yeah, a little bit quicker in pace, and it's kind of, I think, partly with people holding the times to the cards, obviously, but better yet, in regards to what we're seeing here, it is a pretty cool track state, you can maybe argue, because it has been cloudy in the first 2 sessions, I've noticed, compared to last night also. Maybe making things a little bit more cooler in that sense. Because remember, one of the big things is, as the dirt road goes in, the dust will settle, the track will eventually get looser, but if we know there will be some fall potentially as we race.
We had fireworks last night. We might have fireworks this afternoon as we get ready to start your sprint race here for the Wednesday morning session of the 2026 Crandon Championship presented by Track Racer. Dane Culver on the pole in the DC Dig setup shop machine with the 15.102. That's your current fastest pole time of the week. Brody Descher second place. Nathan Minster, who had a horrible night last night. A lot of drivers just looking like they had rough nights last night trying to make something happen here in the morning.
Yeah, drivers like Retzlaff, like Cargill trying to gain some spots. Chomp down near a second back. Danny Sol in the Elkin Tech NHR down in 7th. Augustine, you have so many other drivers, though, that are already your 2 seconds back. At least 3 drivers didn't even get times fully on the board until the very end of the session.
Yeah, it's all to play for here. The spread of skill in this one's a bit wider, 15 trucks instead of 20. Not going to say what I said last night, because that was a curse. I said everything was going to be nice and calm, and then we had trucks put in the attenuator basically immediately. So maybe this one will be super aggressive. Maybe we'll do the reverse curse here as we get the final amount of trucks on the line. So we'll have 10 in that front row. We'll have 5 in that back row. Keep an eye on 11th through 15th. They may be able to capitalize on whatever happens here as we get the final amount of trucks on the grid. I think we're just missing 2. That's Dane Culver to your inside in that Bass Pro Shops machine for DC Dig setup shops. And then Brody Descher to his inside. Those 2 had a dust up last night. Just if you saw the truck that got spun, that's those 2. So they're not done by a long shot, I'm sure, as we wait for, I think, just Florent Deschamps to join us here on the grid.
He's just getting the final checks in, to say the very least, and I think obviously you're going to remember what happened last night. It's going to affect potentially the give and take in some cases on how you approach things and what the expectations are, especially when it comes to the sprint. Looks like all the drivers are ready. We're ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen a land rush start, buckle up, because here we go. Our second sprint race from this week of the 2026 Crandon Championship, presented by Track Racer, is underway, and that's a great start for the third place truck of Nathan Minster. Pinching immediately is the number 1 of Brody Descher to Dane Culver. Dane's got the whole shot. He's able to make it stick. Do we survive the land rush? Minimal casualties as we go to Potawatomi turn 1 and Aponte turn 2.
Not bad to start things off as they roll their way through. Right now, the 6 machine draw around and some chaos in the back. Morris is involved. Morris has dropped off the order, and already at least 2 trucks have fallen off the main pack.
Yeah, I think that was Craig Stuka there that got caught up in a little lap 1 incident. Just a little argy-bargy. Unfortunate for him. Again, we still have the main race after this, but it does decide your qualifying start, your position for that main race, as look who's nose to tail right away. Brody Descher was able to get around Dane Culver. Dane Culver right to his back bumper, but we are 3 wide. There's battles all over the racetrack.
Trying to get themselves out of the trouble as quick as they can here as they work their way under the Walker Evans Racing Bridge. And obviously, in a lot of these cases, you'll have sliders like that. Trying to advance your position, try and establish things quickly. This battle for third is allowing the top 2 to run away here, especially with some of the squeezes as they come up to turn 10, up through Cowboy.
Cowboy is one of the best passing opportunities on the racetrack, but because it's a big corner, you're able to carry a lot of speed on the exit of the turn, and you see that from the number 9 truck there of Nathan Minster. He had a horrible run last night. He had a great sprint, but just couldn't happen in the main race. He's currently sitting P3, but there's your battle first. So Dane Culver and Brody Descher have had more than one dust up in this format of racing. Last year, the year before, maybe they'll settle down. They have such a huge lead, Justin. The right thing to do would just be wait till maybe the last lap, 2 laps to go, to start throwing sliders on each other, because there is a war happening behind them.
Yeah, look at this hornet's nest right now. It has stayed pretty tight here throughout the course of the lap, where no one's been able to get true separation. Minster, he dialed on in with his biggest fan up on the ceiling, cheering him on past the start and finish line. But if you're Minster, the focus is run away, trying to establish the tempo before some of the others like Retzlaff, like the Shops, and some of the others go on a slider from you deep, like that one.
Oh, we're still hitting behind here. That was a big move from Cody Retzlaff, trying to get it done on Florent Deschamps. He's not quite clear yet. He's going to clear the nose of the Frenchman going into Cowboy Corner. Really good defensive line there from Cody Retzlaff. He's going to make that pass stick as we got some moves further back on, and keep an eye on that number 7 machine as well, Daniel Solo. The Swede was not able to have a good run last night. Might be able to do so now that he's got a full night's worth of sleep and able to run a little bit more in his wheelhouse in terms of what time it is. And 2 in the morning for him last night. Was surprised to even see him there.
I mean, in the case of Danny, though, remember, he runs a fair bit on the surface to give him a shout-out. Caught him so many times on road courses and on ovals. He's known for being one of the main drivers that runs some of the European SOFs when it comes to the NASCAR iRacing Series a bit and so forth. So it should be surprised that he also drives in these trucks also, and has been pretty solid so far, trying to make sure to get those points to be built up for Saturday. Has been pretty consistent so far.
Yeah, this is kind of what we expected last night. Just let's settle in, you know, especially 5th, 6th on back. Maybe start fighting around. And something we didn't talk about with that land rush. Around 5th place, there is a really bad bump going into coming onto the actual racing surface. So every position here matters. The more far to the inside you can start, the better it is, as Dane Culver takes a little peek on Brody Descher, but some patience being shown by that number 3 machine. And just thinking long game here. He was DQ'd last night due to incidents. He turned backwards, hit everything but the pace car. I think he's kind of realized, hey, I need to settle down a little bit and worry about Saturday, not worry about right now.
Exactly. You want to be able to try and get to that position where you can race in the main group on Saturday, get the points you need, go from there. Yes, there's the long memory of the past influences that will affect for later on, but it's only the sprint. It's still early on in the event. Battle for 4th at the bottom, though. You can already see how much Cody Retzlaff trying to use up that left side of the 4 machine.
These two guys are having fun right now. That's Florent Deschamps, Cody Retzlaff. That's the 4 and the number 2. The Frenchman to the inside of Cody, able to just give him a little, hey, how you doing? Push him a little bit wide. All is fair in love and short course racing. It is a full contact sport. You thought touring cars were rough driving, but this is just another level above. Again, we have 3 battles for you. Keeping an eye on that run for first. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see those 2 trucks stay settled until at least the last lap. Dane is so good at throwing sliders into Cowboy. I think he's just going to stay with Brody, take an opportunity if it presents itself, Justin. But if they're smart, they'll just look at the gap they've opened just by not racing.
Battle for 4th just had a bit of contact there as that's allowed Deschamps to pull off and away a little bit. And the bottom left as a result of the contact, still side by side for the race lead up at the top. All sorts of flurries with an 18-second spread. But remember, yes, you can have the elbows. That time, Brody hitting the wall. Here comes Dane for the lead.
I don't have to tell Dane twice. Nice move to the inside, but the crossover from Brody Descher. He'll have the momentum on the exit, but this is one of the only non-bank corners of the course. Good move from Brody trying to get to the inside of Dane. Dane sees it coming, shuts him down. Dane Culver to the lead.
Dane Culver not afraid to use elbows a little bit yesterday. You can see how much Dane's trying to work in the midst of his roll bars and chassis in the sim rig. Right now he's trying to stay all tucked in tight. Make sure there's no contact from behind from Descher. You still have less than 2 laps to secure things, and he's got the opportunity to try and pull away a bit. Keep in mind, Minster in all this has been slowly trying to close the gap in the backdrop.
I love Dane's rig. He races a lot of dirt midget racing in real life. Seems like I follow him on Instagram. Seems like every weekend he's out racing somewhere, and that rig kind of really reflects what he races in real life. But he's always been a weapon here on anything dirt. As we run back for the battle for 4th, this is not over by a long shot. Florent Deschamps to the inside of Cody Retzlaff here in Potawatomi, turn number 1. Going to throw the door to Cody, just a little nudge. Cody's got the inside of Ponte, turn 2. Little bit of an argument there over the jump. Cody just didn't get the rotation mid-air, but that's invited Daniel Solo to this party.
You know, we did a bicycle. They jumped so hard there in that sequence. But Solo needs to keep this pretty clean here. You already see the fenders coming apart a bit. That can cause some speed difference with the aero a bit. Now using the side of Retzlaff, getting physical yet again. They come up to 1 lap to go.
And the Alcantech NHR machine trying to go to the inside of Cody Retzlaff. What a great move from Daniel Solo. Read him like a book. Able to get to the inside there as I've taken the white flag here in our sprint. It has been a little bit more calm than last night, but saying that this racing has been calm would just be not true at all, as Dane Culver, again, still hanging on to your lead, but Brody Descher right there and behind him. Is there going to be a move into Cowboy? Not quite. Maybe just a bit too far back for Brody Descher. Not quite. He gets to the side of Dane Culver. Not going to have the momentum on the exit of the corner, though.
Getting intense once again. Culver's going to have to play some defense. Remember, got physical between the 2 of them. Right now, Descher hanging on the rear end. They work their way to Ponte turn 2 this time. A little bit too much of the jump, though, may have cost Brody as he lost a bit of time.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen right here. You got the big banking of the gravel pit. Brody Descher going to take a look. Dane already goes a little bit defensive. Brody might throw the elbow, and he does. Pushes Dane wide. Nothing wrong with that. Perfect short course move, but just doesn't have the momentum on the exit. They're side by side. Little bit of a calamity going into Calamity Corner. Dane covers the inside. Brody's going to try to get back to him. Not going to get it done. Dane Culver wins their 2nd sprint race in a row.
That's it down by Culver at the end as Danny saw it all of that. Got his way up to 4th for the spin around. That's Cargill that's had issues in the final corner. But Danny Sol gets the top 4 with the battle that happened up to the stripe.
A little bit more patience being shown from the drivers there. Again, I don't know if it's just everyone's still drinking their morning coffees or we're still getting settled in here, but that's kind of the driving we were expecting last night. But to say that was calm, Justin, again, like I said earlier, would just be an understatement. We're a great taster of what we're going to get here in our main, but this is your results from your sprint race and your lineup for the main. Dane Culver's going to get your whole shot. Brody Descher will be starting 2nd. Nathan Minster, P3. He had a great run in the sprint last night and then just got caught up in other people's shenanigans, so nice to see him there in the top 3.
Very nice team there. Danny Sol as well in the top 4 also for the Swede. You have the Frenchman Deschamps still in the top 5. Cody Retzlaff with the contact falling down the order along with Cargill to 7th. Jay, Augustine, Berto amongst that top 10. 15-second spread. And don't forget, you see some of the errors. Miles Moore's a part of the contact at the very tail end. You had Cabrera, you had Struka, you had Rampin, so many others that look to try and improve. Because the main race, you get more laps. You get 10 of them.
Yeah, sorry to Miles. I talked about him a little bit in the beginning of the show, and I think I cursed him. So I won't mention Miles again until he's up there. But yeah, we're going to have 10 laps. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot for this dirt surface to evolve and to change. The tire wear is going to be different. The trucks are going to be running a little bit more fuel, and it'll be a totally different dynamic, and there's a lot more time for things to breathe. So you might see these battles kind of simmer down there towards the beginning of the race and get a little bit more aggressive. Again, you can get involved right now. If you are active in the iRacing service, all you need is a D4.0 safety rating or higher to be able to participate in these qualifier races. And even if you don't do a qualifier at all, you can still race with us in the Super Session on Saturday. It's basically how the Indy 500 qualifying works, if you're familiar with that. But instead of going for lap times, we're going for points, and then those points will determine your seeding for Saturday.
Indeed, and it's all about having fun a part of this, right? And be able to build up the reputation that you can race and be strong in this type of racing. Some of these drivers have worked for years on the platform and be able to add to the resume. But of course, if you're here just looking to have some fun and say it's about trying to focus on getting to Saturday, you can just jump in, have some fun. Just get to the D4.0 and you're good to go.
You want to talk about fun? We just had a drop of an update. The console update is here, now available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and of course, still available on Steam. This update coming to the Steam version as well. iRacing Arcade, 4 brand new tracks, 4 brand new cars, the Formula Fangio, the Formula Turbo, and of course, the big boys is the one I'm most excited to. Again, local co-op, so be able to play with your friends on your couch. This is a perfect game to get a old pizza pie, maybe some cold fizzy beverages, and play with your friends on a Friday night.
Exactly. It's a pretty fun game to say the very least, especially not just with the split mode to play with the friends to be a part of the chaos. You get the chance to build your own organization, go for the grassroots all the way up to premier machinery, up in the racing, and allow yourself to customize that motorsport campus you have a part of it.
Yeah, really fun game, even if you don't have friends to play couch co-op. I've done a lot of online sessions with some friends in this, and it's always a laugh. There's a lot of modifiers to play online as well and kind of make you the race your own. As again, this is your sprint race results and your main race grid. Dane Culver on the whole shot. Did not work out for him last night. You're going to have to see that number 3 truck can make the best out of this start. Brody Descher. Again, really expected more fireworks between those two, but I don't know if just a good night's sleep has kind of cleared the minds of them both. But the racing was really respectful. We'll see if that happens here now. And Nathan Minster is going to try to capitalize on his great start. Cody Retzlaff, keep an eye on him. And then outside of that top 10, Justin, those trucks you're going to want to be looking for. They're looking to move up and move up fast.
Augustine's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Cargill mentioned they don't spend a lot of time with the trucks in the sim. They're going to be able to keep an eye on. Mortz is the one you've had to put a circle next to, starting at the tail end of the order. Mortz is going to be one of those you would expect to be a driver on a mission to come from the back to the front.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more time to do it, almost double the race length, an extra 4 laps. Gives you lots of time. You get caught up in some early race incidents to be able to kind of just mentally reset and be able to focus. He's also got the advantage of being able to go wherever he wants to go. As we get ready, the trucks are ready, engines are revving, and for our second time this week, we are green in the main race here for the Crandon Championship presented by Track Racer. Dane Culver again, not getting a great start. That's going to be Brody Descher to the lead, but is he able to hang on the outside of Potawatomi turn number 1? Yes, he is, but we've got Miles Morris is in the top 5.
How about that jump as Morse trying to hold on? Some spinner rounds. That features Augustine getting turned around to the back of the order. Luke Mayer also going around, but a great hole shot to start for Morse for the back row. It's 3 wide for second.
They were playing nice in the sprint. They're not going to play nice in the main race. Already contact. I think every truck in the top 5 has got paint on each other, and we haven't even hit the start finish yet.
Yeah, they're still racing intense. This is going to be difficult. Up for the race lead. Contact the squeeze. There they go. Nearly spinning around for third.
just caught the inside wall there. I think that was the number 4, Florent Deschamps, the Frenchman, just catching a bit of concrete. We saw that last night. It's so easy to go a little bit narrow into Calamity Corner. I think that was Nathan Minster getting chipped wide by Miles Morris. He keys up on the radio. He's not happy about that. But Miles going from last to 5th, and we're not even technically done the first lap yet. That's Florent Deschamps to the inside of Cody Retzlaff. They have some unfinished business from that first sprint race, but look who's pulling away. It's Brody Descher and Dane Culver once again. They are able to have the battle that they weren't able to yesterday.
They're doing a phenomenal job running away from the field here as they work their way back along, heading towards Ponzi. At this point, it's going to be difficult to close up. The short run / the fire off once we get going seems to be in the 1 and the 3's hands. But third on back yet again, staying active. You have Deschamps, you have Retzlaff, you have Minster, all grouped together. Jump trying to hold on, but the slider again. Retzlaff has been physical off this jump.
Good God, there's battles everywhere. They're 3 wide behind him. They're 2 wide here. Deschamps now trying to make it 3 wide middle. Can he make that work? I don't think so. Nathan Minster going to go for the over-under, and then Cody Retzlaff is that lead truck in that battle. We'd like to focus on one battle here, folks. We've got battles for 10th. We've got this war developing for 4th. And again, of course, your number 1 and number 2 are, I think their heads are screwed on a bit tight. Oh, I say that. Nathan Minster just threw a shot to Florent Deschamps as we are fighting all over the place. That's the 6 on the wall.
And a little bit physical once again. That was Drujea Monstos going around. Some contact from Morse on the send with Danny Solo. Goes right in the soul with the squeeze. Augustine, great recovery because the 10 was turned around fully around to start this one off. Keenan has already charged his way back up the 7th right in front of Morse, who's dropped down half the spots he picked up.
We're down to 14 trucks as Kendrick Cargill has been retired from the race. Unfortunately, mid-air contact here for the battle at 10. That's the 14 and the 12. They're still mixing it up. There is everything to play for again with this point system, Justin. Every single position matters.
Exactly, and everyone's racing like it, knowing what's at stake. The race leads actually separating because Brody is starting to get a good rhythm. Hearing there was contact, though, that's the reason why here there was physicality and the elbows out again.
Yeah, again, these two guys have had a history, not just from last night, from past events. Dane is not afraid to throw the first punch. Everybody, I said this last night, everybody in this series who runs these trucks on a regular basis knows how to fight. It just who wants to throw the first punch, and Dane usually does not have a problem with that. I think he gave a little bump to Brody, and that was about it, but because of that, the gap is starting to open up just here a little bit. Brody Descher starting to run away with it. Dane Culver's had so much pace, Justin. I don't know if that truck's got a little bit of toe damage, a little bit of front wheel damage, but he is dropping back.
Yeah, I'm not sure to say the least, but we talked about the notes. You have a hit like on the bottom right here. Could cause some damage with the truck. That can get worse and worse for you speed-wise over the time. You see right here, that nearly puts him on the wall.
Yeah, that we saw that last night where people just don't dare to lift. And usually the wrecks are pretty spectacular, so Dane opting to live to fight another day. Again, nothing wrong with P2 points, but that is how that gap opened. Is speaking of living to fight another day, nobody's told the people in 10th that, as I think that's Braxton Touche or Craig Stuka as trying to hang on, as we're 3 wide over the Polaris flyaway, going deep into Calamity Corner. That's the 11 of Brandon Rapp getting into the door, trying to take that position, and now we're still 3 wide. The fight is not over here for P10.
Keep in mind, Morse does have a meatball flag at the moment, according to scoring, so there might be a significant damage on the 8 from all of the touches and goes. For the 8, we'll keep an eye on for official scoring by the end of this one. There's a chance an extra spot might be on the line. That being said, all these drivers are on top of each other. You're talking 4 seconds difference between the front and the back because of partly how busy they've been spending themselves sliding, jobbing each other, and trying to pass each other back here.
Yeah, this is the battle on the racetrack right now. More stuff is brewing, but right now the 11 of Brandon Rapp and 12 of Craig Stuka. Stuka right to the inside, as unfortunately Miles Morse trying to defend from Daniel Solo, but he will have a meatball flag. As to your point, Justin, the pit lane here, very awkward. And I don't think we are going to have any fast repairs. So unless something happens to that 8 machine, he's just going to, I think, stay out as long as he can. But if he pits, his race is over anyway. So I think he's just going to ride that out until our stewarding team asks him politely yet firmly to please enter the pits. What a heartbreaker for the 8.
Yeah, you'll end up upside down in the first race. Don't even finish the first lap. Second race, you get significant damage. Put you in this type of situation. But the race leaders coming up to halfway. Culver staying tucked in close, not allowing Desher to get a good jump away yet again. Side by side out of Cowboys been pretty common so far here today on the sliders, but it's not yet led to the slider back that we've seen right around lap 6. That's where Culver seems to really settle in on long run.
That's how you can tell these guys are really familiar in these trucks. Dane Culver spun out here in the exact same corner, almost the same move. He's to the inside of Desher. Desher's going to have the speed on the exit here, though. Side by side, going into the Polaris gravel pit. Is Dane going to go for a move? He certainly does. Big dive from the 3. Brody goes for the crossover. He's going to have to shut the door. He does. I think there was a pass and a pass in that corner going into Calamity now. Dane's got the run, but he's got nowhere to go. Brody shuts it down on the inside. Dane to the outside. Can he get the drive off? Brody says no thanks you. Gives him a little bit of a kiss. Hey, how you doing? Brody maintains the lead.
Nice pass back by Brody, to say the very least, to set that up, get the move done, but also do it in a way that doesn't overall cost yourself time or get too physical. Gets it done in. Dane sends it immediately to the back bumper.
Yeah, Brody's mirror driving right now. He knows who's behind him. They've had a couple little dust-ups too, and Dane, again, I think he's just going to wait to pick his spot. They were really smart in that first race to kind of just get as much gap as they can so they can fight as hard as they need to. And they're so close in terms of pace. The more gap they have to P3 of Cody Retzlaff, he's no slouch back there either, and he'll be ready to capitalize if anything crazy happens up front. I think it's a little bit of front-end damage now as we ride behind these two. What a great camera angle from our production team. The drone just sitting on top of Brody Desher as we've got just under 4 laps to go. A little bit of a gap here now as we jump back to that battle for 3rd place. Cody Retzlaff being able to gap a little bit of Nathan Minster. Great recovery from Minster. Again, he has had a very eventful 2 nights, Justin. I'm sure he'll take a solid P4, but a place on the podium, a place in the interview booth right in front of him.
It definitely is, and mind you, in the case of Minster, that's while dealing with significant damage to the front end. Light damage, remember, good on these cars, or it's okay at the very least. That is pretty significant. Meanwhile, you look away from the race lead for a couple moments. I'm pretty sure Dane's lost his right front fender as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the damage not really super, not race ending in these trucks, but a little bit of aero damage, especially with how big the straights are at Crandon. Not really optimal, as they had a little bit of a coming together in Calamity Corner. And so I think we're queuing up a replay for that. Nothing huge, but that's how that gap opened as we jump back to the battle for 10. Craig Stuka and Pablo Cabrera now trying to hang on to this battle, as Benjamin Barteau has now also entered the fray. It's a 3-way dance for P10 as the 14 truck going to try to hold the outside of the 11 here to Potawatomi turn number 1. The 11 has the inside, but the 14 will have the momentum. Side by side, the 14 gets the pass clear, but we've seen so many issues here before, as Justin will take a look at that contact to the lead.
We talked about physicality up at the front of the field. Happen again. Of course, Culver already has had the damage coming away to rip away the fender, but you see, gets a little bit better roll, hits the rear, nearly turns Desher around. Great save by Brody to hold on and nearly put Dane back to the wall in response. They're both able to stabilize. They're still faster than the rest of the field. These two you see in this group, by the way, have gotten very familiar with their doors hearing. You have Brandon versus Benjamin that have been baiting off each other back here for 11th.
Yeah, again, there's only about, again, we have Miles Morse that's finally dropped out of the race. I think he finally got put in the, he's finally got put in the pit lane. But now these two, we've touched on it all broadcasts. It's not just last night. They've had issues in 2025. They've had issues in 2024. So everything's been kind of rough but respectful so far, but we still have 3 laps to go.
Yeah, to this point with Culver basically slowly but surely becoming modified. Good opportunity to remind everyone To follow along with not just the structure, but everything iRacing, be sure to follow along with iRacing on social media, whether that's on X, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky also, to be able to keep an eye on the updated event standings that will be posted every morning, a part of this event here this weekend and this week with Crandon.
Yeah, it was cool to see Trenton Beecham, former drift driver, back trying to attempt to make it into the Crandon Championship. They just finished their round at Seattle, so he skedaddled on home, got back in the sim rig. Nice to see you again, Trenton, as this battle is still not over for P1. 2 laps to go. They have a huge gap now to P3 of Cody Retzlaff, who still has to defend his position from Nathan Minster. They've been throwing elbows back there for third, but 5 seconds to the gap now. Justin, they've got room to fight. And now it's just all down to Dane. Brody will hold on to that position. He knows this track very well, races here all the time. He knows where to put that truck to be able to defend. Exactly right there. Is able to just pitch Dane up into that berm. But here's your 2 battles. The battle for the lead, the battle for third. The battle for third, I think they've hit each other almost every corner the last lap and a half.
There it is again. Right on cue, heading to Retzlaff to get the pass done. Minster back up to the top 3 as we're coming up to the white flag. Yet again, though, look at what's going on amongst the leaders. Keep an eye on Culver where the line goes, trying that outside up top. Trying to see if he can get the momentum off the corner. Not there as Escher covers it back off. Crossing the line, getting ready to close things up. 1 to go.
We're going to sit for this battle, these 2 battles for the rest of the race. White flag, 1 lap to go. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen here in Cowboy Corner. This is Dane's wheelhouse. The amount of sliders you've seen this guy throw in this corner have been crazy. Is he going to be able to pull this off again? Watch the number 3 DC Dig set up shot machine. Does he go deep? He does not. Brody Desher to the outside, maybe just get a little bit of a hip check from Dane, but he won't have the momentum in the exit. Brody tries to close it down, going to throw Dane off course. Big jump from the 3 machine there onto the bump. He won't have the run now in the Potawatomi turn 1. Justin, something's about to go down here.
How physical does Culver go? He's on the inside, making their way up to Ponte. Here we go. They all bounce around. Culver gets clear.
What a move from Dean Culver. He gets to the inside up into the wall, but Brody Descher's now to his inside. They're pushing. They're welded together. They haven't stopped hitting. Another shot from Brody. That's Dane wide. Brody's going to get into him again. He's going to have to run off the corner. Dane's now back to second. Does he go for something in the Calamity corner? 1 turn left to go. Is he able to get it done? Brody parks the inside. Dane to the outside. They're running into each other. We are side by side over the line, and that's Brody Descher by a fender.
Oh my word. They're battling hard for third with Retzlaff getting the edge. But what just happened? How about those sends side by side, about 32 1,000ths of a second at the line?
Yeah, Brody just parked the inside, thought Dane was going to come in like a wrecking ball, and that's just not what happened. Had to run to the outside. It looks like Brody opened up the steering a little bit, maybe just tried not to get into the wall. What a classic Crandon finish. And we talked about fireworks, not really quite the way we were expecting it, but hard, competitive racing between these 2. And Brody Descher, what a recovery from yesterday. He will be your main winner here in the Wednesday morning qualifier race. But what a great race for Dane Culver as well. He ends up walking away with the second place by 0.032.
That was razor close, and it came down to simply, I think, who had that preferred line at the very end to get the edge. Retzlaff also doing the same with Minster, separated by about 2/10 there. Jumps coming up the top 5. Yeah, Danny Sullivan 6 quietly. Augustine, Struka, Truchet, Brandon wrap up in the top 10 after some physical battles up in the top third, if not 2/3 of the field with 3 DNFs.
I hate to see that for those folks at the bottom. I think Miles just, again, kind of no hope from recovering from that. That's not the last we'll see of that Team Watson racing machine this week. And then unfortunate for Pablo Cabrera, Kendrick Cargill got caught up almost immediately in an incident. Just unfortunate for them. However, ladies and gentlemen, we weren't able to speak to him last night. We're talking to him today. Dane Culver, P2. Not the way you wanted to start your Crandon Championship last night, but some good points here for you today, P2. So great racing from you and Brody there at the end. Again, I know, unfortunately, just not the way you wanted to start there, but I think we're just having some technical issues with Dane. We'll get to him in just a moment. But before we get there, again, Justin, your first time here in the seat. We're going to see you again later this week for your first Crandon Championship experience. I think you've got a little bit of a treat there, especially with that finish.
Yes, I think it was definitely a throw. The closest finish I've had when calling this type of racing, keep in mind. And this is all a part of the week, mind you, to just get the points to set up for the Super Sessions. We've seen this with a variety of different events so far, especially a couple weeks ago with sprint cars. You have to be able to compete for the points if you want to be in the top session for the Super Sessions to get the top crown. Obviously, you can race and be a part of those who look to have fun and just want to come in and race. But obviously, it takes a lot of effort to get here, and you can see just how much they want those max points.
All right, let's try this again. I think we now have your P2 finisher, Dane Culver. Again, Dane, I don't think we were able to see the best from you last night. Unfortunately, you got caught up in it looked like everything. But solid P2 from you today. Some great pace. Talk us through there, for especially that main race fight. That looked like it was a little bit of a hell in a handbasket for you. He's looking at us. He's looking at me. He's looking at me directly, actually. Just maybe some technical issues again with Dane.
I'm looking at the
there he
YouTube stream right now, so this is a little bit probably delayed.
Oh, I can hear him. So we also have, okay, we got more going on here. Dane, consummate professional. He's been here before, Justin, but maybe it's just over the last year. But not the end. Last we'll see those two guys for sure, but especially as we're going to see them again tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes, indeed. In the second of the evening sessions, where a lot of drivers will go bump once again in the evening as we look to see who comes up on top. Of course, you have the sessions as well in the mornings on Thursday and Friday also. So there's 5 more chances to score points in these sessions to lead up into the Super Saturday.
Yeah, and again, it's all to play for on the Saturday. 2 races to get it done. Both as prestigious as the other, but a lot of these drivers based out of the best drivers in short course based out of the West Coast and in North America. So everyone's got their day jobs, going to school, whatever they got to do. And we'll see a lot of the heavy hitters out for 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, especially people like Miles Morris that just such a great start, and I wasn't able to keep up with it. I don't remember the last time I think I've seen a meatball in Crandon, but we'll hopefully see him back. And whether we talk to them or not, we'll see the first and second place finishers of Dane Culver and Bodie Descher back again at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen, we are not done this week by a long shot. And as the last 2 years have gone, the races only get crazier. The racing only gets closer. So if that was a lot of fun for you to watch at home, stay tuned for the rest of the week. Follow us on our socials. Stay tuned with the points. It is a story that will develop over and over as the week progresses.
It's going to be a fun rest of the week, to say the very least, and I can't wait to see how some of the drivers go into the evening here at Keenan. But hey, it's not just all fun and games here with Crandon. There's plenty of other fun and games you can have if you want to go in the iRacing ecosystem, isn't there?
I was going to say there's plenty of fun in games, as we got 2 upcoming big updates in the iRacing Studios realm. Again, we talked about iRacing Arcade, now available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and of course that PC version. Also getting this update, 4 brand new cars, 4 brand new circuits, split screen multiplayer, among with everything else that iRacing Arcade already had to offer. The big boys are here, 2 new Formula cars, the Mercedes 190 ETTM car from the 90s. Fantastic game to play with your friends, and now it's only better. This game was made for consoles, and now you can jump on the couch and be able to play with some of your best friends. And not the only thing we're cooking in iRacing Studios, Justin.
Absolutely. Don't forget, you have NASCAR 26 coming up. Scan the QR code to pre-order NASCAR 26 coming out in September on the 18th. Of course, that's $59.99 for the standard, $79.99 for the gold. And there's a lot of excitement in regards to that, such as the new features with more enhanced career mode, new facility upgrades, team upgrades, the standalone chase, and so much more you can have a part of NASCAR 26.
That'll be available September 19th. You can pre-order right now. and be able to get in on the action, get your foot in the door. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. Justin, we had a little bit of a chance to touch on in the middle of the interviews there, but your first Crandon experience of the week. I know you're not unfamiliar with short course racing here on iRacing, but to join this and see what to play for here, final thoughts from you. Nice to have you back up here as well.
I think it was a fun time to start things off, to say the very least. Obviously, we've seen pretty much one of the big stories where the top two definitely remember their times against each other over the course of the year. And I think that may continue over the course of the week. The question will be, who's going to stay the most consistent as they score points? That's what I'm keeping an eye on coming into tonight's session afterwards as well.
It's not over, ladies and gentlemen, not by a long shot. We've merely only started writing down the story in the book that is the 2026 iRacing Crandon Championship presented by Track Racer. Who's going to be your next winner? Are we going to see a repeat winner? Are we going to see a brand new name be able to join to that roster? We'll only find out tonight. We'll see you at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here at twitch.tv/iRacing. My name is Keenan Kuzin. Join me is Justin Prince. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for your next iRacing Crandon Championship qualifier.